Good morning. We're off on the first really long photo trip I've had probably since before COVID. Heading to Central Oregon to the John Day fossil beds, in particular to the Painted Hills unit, which is a place I've wanted to go to for years and never had the chance. So let's see what we can find this time.
Well, after an extremely long drive, I'm here at the Best Western in Prineville, Oregon, which is about as close as I could get to the Painted Hills. I was always planning on spending the night over here and was going there tomorrow morning. I was under the understanding that tomorrow was supposed to be a partly sunny day, which it still might be, but I also found out just now that they've changed the weather forecast to be very high winds there, so this may be a very interesting, if not challenging, shoot, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. See you tomorrow.
It's next morning. It looks like a nice, bright, sunny day with some puffy clouds that will probably be very photogenic. Not too much wind at this point. I hope that stays the same now to head off to Painted Hills. The drive from Prineville to the Painted Hills unit here is only about 40 miles, but it's completely breathtaking with the number of different ecosystems that you go through, everything from the snowy forests to a high desert. I hope you enjoyed that trip because I certainly did. Now time to try and shoot at Painted Hills itself. Well, do I need to tell you it's quite windy up here? I have no idea how the sound's going to be on this, but it's probably going to be pretty awful, and I apologize in advance for that. Well, I hope that you can still hear me. I'm not sure you can, but obviously I keep my hair from blowing all over the place. We're currently at the iconic Overlook Point here. I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see what I'm talking about. These are the Painted Hills, or part of them at any rate, the most famous part. And this is the picture I'm going to be taking now. Since I have a 28-200 lens on here right now, I'm going to go zooming in on some of the details in the hills here, the striations of color, and I'm going to do this with a longer lens and see what I can get out of that. That worked nicely. I decided to bring out the big gun, so I've got my 50-400 on here. Well, at this point, I'm at Painted Cove Trail. Unfortunately, it looks to me like I've picked the absolute worst time of day to get here because the light is very, very harsh and coming from the wrong direction. So I don't really anticipate getting much in terms of photography here, but I do have my camera with my 28-200, and if I find anything good here, then you'll see it shortly. After hiking the Painted Cove Trail, I've come up with a new theory. You might call it a conspiracy theory. Holds that none of this area is actually natural as they claim it is. Instead, I maintain it was built secretly by a consortium of camera filter manufacturers in the hopes of selling circular polarizers. Because frankly, I've never seen a polarizer make so much difference to an area. I can only assume that the hills around here contain minerals, the same minerals that give it the color, must have very high reflectivity. So what you're getting is a lot of glare without being aware of it, because the difference between seeing an unpolarized picture and a polarized one of this is astounding. You twist the polarizer into place, and it's like you went into the Lightroom and kicked up the saturation about 50 points or more. So I found that a really amazing experience, and now I am at it's called Red Leaf or Red Scar Trail, and I'm going to hike this too. And if I get anything, you'll see them in a moment. And after that, I'm going back up to the Overlook to see if we're getting closer to sunset. We're going to get more golden light there. Well, I'm back at Overlook Point. We've got kind of a good news, bad news situation here. The good news is that we're getting some really nice golden hour light as the sun begins to set over the horizon. The bad news, as you can see, is there's not a single cloud in the sky. Maybe a couple tiny ones, but not enough to give us any sort of good effect. Now, I'll just wait out here and see if we get any more clouds coming in, because they may be coming this way. I am hoping, but I'm not too optimistic. But if we get anything that's worth shooting, I'll include it here. And if not, well, it's time to head home now. I thank you for coming along. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you on our next adventure. Bye.